Hi everyone, and today we'll talk about wonderful 6, even with one bonus 7 sets you need and you definitely will want to farm in ESO Gold Road new DLC that will launch tomorrow on PC and Mac, and will launch something like June 16th, if I remember correctly, on consoles on PlayStation and Xbox. So we'll start with Overland sets. You remember Overland sets? They are sets that you can find in open world, in delves, in publics, in different public events, etc., etc. So you simply can just play through the zone content, or you can just simply buy them in a week or in a two. I think on the market you will find all the necessary items from the sets. So one of the best overlands and the best overland set from new upcoming DLC Gold Road is Macabre Vintage medium set, and this set's not only giving you weapon and spell damage for all three and even four bonuses. First four bonuses are weapon and spell damage, quite big amount, but also when you kill a monster, they burst with blood magic, dealing 50% of their max health to enemies within 6 meters as bleed damage, up to 24,000 bleed damage. And this damage cannot critically strike. This effect can occur once every 0.5 seconds. So it's a very strong at clearing set you definitely want on different trash packs, in trials, in dungeons, and even you can utilize it to kill trash on some bosses if you want in trials and dungeons, especially in dungeons where you have several bosses. When you're fighting several bosses or mini bosses same time, it's a wonderful set to clear odds and to boost these very tough mini bosses, especially new dungeons like last one. These dungeons are really tough, and you got some very nasty company to the bosses. You definitely want to burst as fast as possible. So it's definitely one of the worth mentioning and worth farming sets in the new upcoming DLC. It's Overland set again. In other sets, we will skip crafted sets because yes, there are some very interesting sets, but nothing too crazy. Maybe only one worth mentioning. Only mentioning Threads of War. It's a set that you can utilize in your one bar lights, one bar magic builds. You can utilize, but I don't think it will be meta. So your light and fully charged heavy attacks gain 100% status effect chance. The status effect is based on the damage type of your weapon. So you see, it's a very nice set for one bar magic builds, but I don't think it will be meta. But still, it's a very viable set. You can try to make some builds with it. It sounds really nice. But still. And now we will start with trial sets, and almost all new trial, new Lucent Citadel, if I remember correctly, Lucent Citadel trial sets are very nice, and we'll start with light set called Mora Scribe's Thesis. And this set, as always, is gain Minor Slayer at all times. It's increasing your damage done to dungeon trial and arena monsters by 5%. It's a light set for magic damage dealers, but also this set increase your critical chance by 125 for every major buff active on you, up to 1536 critical chance, increasing your critical damage done by 1% for every minor buff active on you, up to 12% critical damage done. So it's a very strong set, especially for one bar Magica builds. Almost everyone playing right now. It's very difficult, especially if you are playing normal randoms. It's very difficult to find anyone not playing one bar build. So one of the best new one bar meta sets. It definitely can compete with current meta. Currently we are using Sergeant and Storm Master, and it's one of the sets that can compete with these two. So definitely farm this set. Definitely go to this new trial, this Citadel, and farm it. It will work. Especially, we need to test it, of course. We need to test on live. Maybe Zosis will change some numbers tomorrow, but on the paper, it looks very strong. Is one of the most powerful one bar alternative sets you can use in your one bar builds. Next set is Medium Silvers of Null Arca. It's a medium set again from Trial, and its main bonus, its dealing critical damage, gives you a stack of silver for 10 seconds. You can only gain one stack of silver every 0.5 seconds, and when you gain your third stack, it's on 1.5. You need 1.5 seconds to get maximum stacks, 3 stacks. They are consumed and the crystals launch at the enemy you damaged, dealing 3063 physical damage. The damage scales of your weapon or spell damage. Once you launch the crystal, you cannot gain silver for 5 seconds. So what does this mean? You need 1.5 seconds to gain all 3 stacks, and when you gain these stacks, immediately you are dealing 3000 physical damage, and this damage is scaling. So I think, so as we can see, it's a base amount of damage. We see through this 3000, it's the best amount of damage, so it can be even higher if your weapon and spell damage is capped or something like capped. And you need 5 seconds. And the set has 5 seconds cooldown. This means you launch these stacks of silver, you launch these 3000 base damage, physical damage, every 6.5 seconds. And it's very big amounts of damage, especially if you have high weapon damage. Again, we need to test this, but I think we can do up to 7000 damage. And every 7000, every 6.5 seconds, 7000 damage, it's quite a big amount. So definitely look at the sets. It's maybe, I'm not saying 100% I'm sure, but it can be if your weapon damage or spell damage is high enough, if you are trying to max it out, it can be a very strong alternative to Unchanging Relic when you are using on stamina builds, and also it can be a very strong alternative to, for example, Pillar of Nirn. Almost everyone using in trials, in veteran trials on magical builds. So yeah, it's a very strong set, very nice alternative to Relic Queen, and maybe even to Pillar of Nirn. And another very powerful set, now it's heavy set, again from Lucent Citadel, from New Trial, Lucent Echoes. And it's giving you healing, it's adding 4% healing taken, gain mineral eggs at all times, reducing damage taken from dungeon, trial, and arena monster by 5%. Also, it's giving you 1206 max health, also very nice, again, additional health if you farming veteran to get perfected ones. And also, while you have more than 50% health, increases the critical damage and healing of your group members by 11%. It's a very big amount and also it's giving you 11% not as a buff, but also like a pure amount. So it's stacking with everything else. So you won't be in this situation when, for example, healer using one set and you are trying to use the same set and it's not stacking because it's giving you some buff. No, it's not a buff. It's not like a major or minor buff. It's simply just a raw amount. So it can stack with everything your healers and for example, off tanks wearing. So it's definitely one of the best sets for tanks, especially if you are playing in a big group, for example, in trial on veteran difficulty, or if you are playing DLC veteran or maybe even hard mode trial. It's a very, very strong set. It can be a very viable alternative to current tank meta. And also, your group members wearing Lucent Echoes cannot benefit from this effect. Yeah, quite obvious. And I think you will have more than 50%. Let's read it again. Of your group members wearing Lucent Echoes cannot benefit from this effect. So as far as we can see, you and other group members, for example, of tanks, if they are wearing or if they duplicate in this set, you will not have this effect. So be sure to have second set that will help you to survive, because you won't have this healing increased by 11%. So tank needs to be able to manage himself if tank is wearing this set. But also, while you have 50% or less health, it reduces your damage taken from monsters by 20%. And this is a very big amount for tanks, especially for hard mods, especially for DLC hard mods. It's a very, very big amount of damage reducing. So definitely one of the really, really strong sets for tanks. It can be very strong, especially in combination, for example, with Netherray or in Turning Tide. It can work very, very nice. So definitely do not sleep on this set, especially if you are tank main like me, if you are playing a lot of trials, dungeons, especially on high difficulty. And other sets I want to talk with you are Shadow Queen's Skull. It's a mythic. You understand why I'm swapping to the game, because I will need to I will need to show you something when we will talk about about the last set. Not now. So one of the best mythics in the new DLC, upcoming DLC Gold Road, the Shadow Queen Skull. It's a light head. While crouched, you can see witnesses and guards through walls. And successfully pickpocketing a witness or guard applies Distracted to them for 10 seconds, stunning your target. Decreases your detection radius in stealth by 30 meters against distracted targets. So, it's one of the best sets for stealing, for using your Blade of Woe, and to play stealthy. So definitely, guys, is a new meta how to play ESO. Now stealth is a new meta. So definitely do not sleep on this set. Everyone just farm it, and hell, who wants trials, who wants fishing, who wants housing? Now stealth is a new meta how to play ESO. So yeah, wonderful set. I'm really happy that Zos is trying to expand our rogue fantasy, the whole guilds, Thieves Guild and Dark Brothers whole guilds fantasy, and expanding our ways to play even role playing, because it's a wonderful set to be more role player in this game. If you want to be a thief or Dark Brotherhood member, it's the best times ever to be a member of this guild. So yeah, definitely farm the set if you want to expand your stealth abilities and to extend and expand your killing and stealing opportunities. And now the last set, the Saint and the Seducer. Maybe something connected with Shagarat. If you reading this name, it's a it reminds you of a very similar, familiar to you maybe if you played Test for Oblivion, or if you played Magic Guild ESO storyline. It's something very connected with Shagarat and his domain, his direct domain. So what this set gives you? While in combat, you gain one of 5 random major buffs, which changes every 10 seconds. Enemies within 12 meters of you gain one of 5 random minor body buffs, depending on which buff you have. The available buffs and debuffs include Major Berserk and Minor Maim, Major Resolve and Minor Breach, Major Force and Minor Brittle, Major Evasion and Minor Vulnerability, Major Courage and Minor Cowardice. It's a wonderful mythic. It's a neck you can utilize in different builds, and especially I see using it in PvP on, for example, stamina builds with gap closers, because it has only 12 meters radius, so you definitely will need to have some sort of gap closer. And for example, on Storm Dragon Knight with gap closers from 200 or something else, or with, for example, Take Flight on Dragon Knight, it's a very strong set that giving you not only buffs, but also giving your enemies different debuffs and very strong debuffs. Why I told you that I want to show you something in the game, and currently we have one set very familiar to it, also very strong in PvP. I don't understand why so little people using it in PvP in Cyrodiil and in Imperial City. But it's one of the best sets in PvP, especially if we're talking about stamina meta. It's Daedric Trickery, and this set, when you deal damage, you gain one of 5 random major buffs for 21 seconds every 9 seconds. And these buffs are Expedition, Protection, Mending, Heroism, and Vitality. And it's also very strong set. It's giving you different buffs, but these buffs can stack, because you get every buff for 21 seconds, and these buffs can but you get every new buff every 9 seconds. So it's very strong set with stacking possibility. So it's a very viable, it's a very nice alternative to Daedric Trickery, but also we need to test how it's working with Daedric Trickery, so you can get a lot of different buffs, and even the different buffs, major buffs, with different debuffs on your enemies same time. So with Daedric Trickery, with something giving you pure damage, this will be very strong opportunity, and it's possibly even can be new PvP meta for stamina builds, especially with gap closers. Even on mana builds, it can work very, very nice. But with mana builds, you definitely, at least on mana builds, when I'm playing with my friends, we want to stay as far as possible from the enemy, and we are trying to, especially if you're playing mana build, you're trying to burst the enemy and to get away, not to stay in too close, especially in Cyrodiil, when your enemies, especially when you're sieging different castles and different fortresses, you don't have an opportunity to stay close to the enemy. And this 12 meters, it's a very big limitation. So I don't think it will be very, very strong sets for mana builds in PvP, but for stamina builds, maybe on Battleground also, on Battleground definitely it will work very, very nice. But on stamina builds in Cyrodiil, I see it's working very, very well. So definitely try this build, definitely try these sets and try some builds with it. Maybe I will make a video with the sets, with some builds, because it looks very nasty. So guys, it's all sets, all interesting sets we've got in new DLC, ESO Gold Road DLC that launching June the 3rd on PC and Mac, and June 16 on PlayStation and Xbox. So you see, those is giving us a lot of new wonderful sets to try, new builds. Also, they're introducing very nice new interesting system called Scribing, where you have an opportunity to customize your own skills, in any way you want. So definitely, we will definitely try this, make our opinions, our guides on all these topics. Maybe we will even make a guide on Scribing. So if you like this video, don't forget to click the like button, and don't forget to subscribe if you want more videos like this, different guides, builds. Check our different RPG guides on our channel. And as always, guys, I will see you in the next video. Good luck.